So, hello everyone. In the last session, we have discussed that orbital perturbations and what are the various effects of non-spherical Earth. In that, we have discussed two effects, right? First, that was rotation of apsides, and second, that was regression of nodes. In the today's session, we are going to continue with the topic orbital perturbations, and in that, we are going to discuss the other two parameters which are affected by the non-spherical Earth, and the second effect which is called as atmospheric drag, right? So the topics to be covered in this session, that is effect of eccentricity variation and effects of Earth's oblateness under the topic effect of non-spherical Earth, right? And this, in atmospheric drag, there are two effects, that is effect of sun and moon and solar radiation pressure. Now, first going to that, what is eccentricity variation? So, as we have discussed, what is eccentricity? So, the value of eccentricity will give us what type of shape that is followed by an satellite, right? If E is between 0 and 1, then it will have a shape of ellipse. If E is 0, then it will have a shape of circular orbit, right? Now, what due to the non-spherical Earth, what is the effect of eccentricity variation, which we have to see in this session, right? Now, in addition to equatorial bulge, the Earth is not a perfect circular in an equatorial plane. So as we are discussing about non-spherical Earth, shape of non-spherical Earth, then at the equatorial side it is bulge, right? So it is not perfectly circular. So it has small eccentricity of the order of 10 raised to minus 5, right? So due to that, the eccentricity is very small, right? So this is referred to as equatorial ellipticity. So thus the equatorial plane, which should be a circular and it should be in the center of it, it will, in place of that, it will have an eccentricity of order 10 raised to minus 5, right? Now, the effect of equatorial ellipticity is to set up a gravity gradient which has pronounced effect on satellites in a geostationary orbit. So, where you can see this eccentricity variations, so the satellites which are launched in geostationary orbit will have the effect of equatorial ellipticity, right? Because due to gravitational pull of Earth, the shape of the orbit will get changed, and thus the satellite, it may possible that it will deviate from its orbit, right? So due to eccentricity variation, the equatorial ellipticity will also be changed. The gravity gradient result from equatorial ellipticity causes the satellite in geostationary to drift to one of the two stable points which coincide with the minor axis of equatorial ellipse, right? So what does the effect of equatorial ellipticity on the satellites in geostationary? So it will drift, it will have a stable points, right? Two stable points in which the satellite is moving perfectly, and it is having, or it is communicating in a perfect manner, so that it will shift from two stable points to an unstable point which coincide with the minor axis of the equatorial eclipse, right? So which will intersect with the minor axis. So due to that the change will happen in this in this equatorial ellipticity. These two stable points are separated by 180 degree on the equator and are approximately, that is 75 degree east longitude and 105 degree west longitude. So the stable point are in the east and west longitudes, are 75 degree east and 105 degree west, right? So satellite in service are prevented from drifting to these points through station keeping maneuvers, right? Now, as we have studied in the block diagram of satellite communication, that for satellite communication, it will need a station keeping and attitude control. So what does the station keeping maneuvers means? So it will completely observe that particular orbit in which the satellite is moving. If the satellite is drift from one stable point to another point, right, and if it is perturbed, right, then the satellite can be drifted to the stable points, right, through using station keeping maneuvers, right. And there are two types of maneuvers, that is east west maneuvers and north south maneuvers. So whenever we are talking about geostationary orbit, the east west maneuvers are going to take part in this from preventing the satellites from drifting. Clear? So this was the effect of Earth's eccentricity variation. Now, next going to, that is effect of Earth's oblateness, right? So the Earth is not spherical because of flattening at the poles, right? So as we have seen earlier, due to eccentricity variation, why it is eccentricity variation? Due to the equatorial bulge, right? But the effect of Earth's oblateness, that is due to flattening at poles and also due to equatorial bulge. The region where mass concentration is high, which is called as MESCON, right, in a non-uniform gravitational field around the Earth. Hence, the force on the satellite will change depending on the position of the satellite, right? So, as the Earth is not spherical and it is flattening at the poles and equatorial at the bulge, there will be some places where the region will have the mass concentration will be high, and there are some places where the mass concentration will be low. So in the general, it will have a non-uniform mass, and due to non-uniform mass, the non-uniform gravitational field will be present, right? So due to this non-uniform gravitational field, the position of satellite, the force on which the satellite will appear will depend on the position of satellite, on which concentration it is actuated. Because of position of equatorial bulges and MESCON, a geo has 4 equilibrium points, out of which 2 are stable while 2 are unstable points, right? So where the mass concentration is high in geostationary orbit, there are 4 points, right? If the satellite is at an unstable point and if a small force is applied, then the satellite will move to a stable point, right? And if once it is reached to a stable point, the satellite will remain in the stable point only using the station keeping maneuvers, right? Now, what are the stable and unstable points for this oblateness? So the unstable points are approximately around 162 degree east and 348 degree east, whereas the stable points are 75 degree east and 252 degree east, right? So depending on this, if it is on an unstable point, right, it will reach to a stable point by giving somewhat force on it. If a satellite is perturbed from an unstable point and it accelerates and drifts near the nearest stable point, after reaching the stable point, it oscillates around the stable point till it stabilizes at that point, right? So if it is drifted from a stable point to unstable point, then again it is drifted to a nearest stable point by using rocket motors, right? After it reaching the stable point, it will oscillate around that stable point only. Clear? So this stable point are referred to as graveyards of orbit, right? So here it is a definition for the graveyards in the orbit of the satellite, right? So if they have asked the definition of graveyard, then you have to write this particular point in the definition of graveyards. Now, next type of important effect that due to which the orbit get perturbed, that is atmospheric drag. Now, in the general theory of atmospheric drag, in last session we have discussed that atmospheric drag will have an effect on LEO satellites, whereas it does not have any or negligible effect on GEO satellites, right? So, for the near Earth satellite, which is our LEO satellites, below above 1000 kilometers, the effect of atmospheric drag are significant. So atmospheric drag effects can be seen on LEO satellites because the drag is greatest at the perigee and the drag acts to reduce the velocity at this point, right? So it's greatest at the perigee, which is the closest one, right? So due to this drag, the satellite will deviate from its position. With the result, the satellite does not reach to the same apogee height on successive revolutions. So if the distance is small and which is near to the Earth's surface, then it will have an issue of atmospheric drag due to the perigee point is near, and due to some reasons it will not reach to that apogee height, and it will drift from its various orbits, right? Now, the semi-major axis and the eccentricity are both reduced. Drag doesn't noticeably change the other orbital parameters, including perigee height, right? So here what happens, that the semi-major axis and eccentricity are reduced. So this will reduce, that means the shape of eclipse will be reduced, right? So due to this, indirectly it has been said that the satellite will change its orbit, right? And other parameters like perigee height, apogee height will not be seen in changing. Now, a pseudo drag termed in generated, which is equal to 1/2 the rate of change of mean motion, which is as per NASA's bulletin, right? So it is given by the expression for the change of major axis, that is given by A is equal to A0 N0 by N0 plus N0 dash T minus T0 raised to 2/3, where the 0 in the subscript denotes the value at reference time T0, and N0 is the first derivative of the mean motion, which is N0 dash, right? The mean anomaly is also changed. Due to this, the average position or average angular position of a satellite will change, and the approximate will be given by NO dash, that is first derivative of mean motion, by 2 T minus T0 whole square. This is the change in mean anomaly, that is delta M. Here, now, what are the effects of sun and moon, which is under the atmospheric track, right? So the gravitational attraction by the sun and the moon causes the orbital inclination of the geosynchronous satellite to change with time, right? So what will be the effects of sun and moon? So as we have discussed in orbital perturbations, so beyond the gravitational force of Earth, there is again one type of gravitational force of sun and moon, right, which will be seen on geosynchronous, or you can say geostationary satellite rather than LEO satellites, right? So the effect will be more on geostationary satellite, and it will be negligible with the LEO satellites, right? So the gravitational attraction by sun and moon causes the orbital inclination. What that is causes, the orbital inclination angle of the orbit will be changed, right? And as the inclination will be changed, the rest of the things will also change with respect to equator, right? If not countered by north-south station keeping, this force will result in increasing orbital inclination from 0 degree to 14.67 degree in 26.6 years, right? So this effect can be reduced by using or by observing north-south station keepings, right? And if this increases, this will increase from 0 degree to 14.67 degree in how many years? 26.6 years. And last orbital perturbation, that is solar radiation pressure, right? So due to, as we can see, the sun is a larger body which radiates the solar energy, right? And as we can say, it is a hotter body, so the radiations of the solar energy will also perturb the satellite orbit, right? So what it will have, the satellite experienced variation in its, again, what, eccentricity, right? So again the shape of the orbit will be changed. For the first 6 months, it builds up and then shrinks during the 6 months. So for the whole year, first 6 months, it will be expanded, and after 6 months, it will be a shrinks down. So small variation in the shape of orbit can tolerate it for most missions. So this solar radiation pressure is a negligible effect in terms of satellites, right? Because it has very small variations in the shape of orbit, right? But other variations which were discussed in this session cannot be tolerated for that particular satellite, right? So that's all for this session. Here we have completed our topic orbital perturbations, which we have started in the last session, as well as here we have ended our unit 2, which is orbits and its launching methods, right? Now in the next session we are going to start with our unit 3, that is the geostationary orbit, in which we will discuss, again, there are numerical parts, as well as there are somewhat important theories in that. So that's all for today's session. Thank you.